God has called me and pushed me to develop not only the African American church, but the multicultural church. I believe with all my heart, the church has to be a place by which people of all walks of life come and experience the love of God. Talk about diversity, not just in terms of color, gender, economics, social backgrounds, every aspect of life. This book, as she's written, is so important because our world is caught in all of this anti-Semitism, racism. We see it every day. And I had the opportunity to sit down with Celeste and talk about how the church in particular and how I, even though this is what God has given me, can become an ambassador. And if you truly want to see an ambassador, you see this woman tonight. And I'm grateful to God that she's here pushing and plowing her way through to make this evening and this book so available to people of all walks of life. And Merck, she has demonstrated her commitment, competency, and commitment. And we're honored to have her part of that. I get the time to say that. Thank you for being who you are. Let us pray. Gracious and glorious God, we assemble tonight for the launching of this book, How to Be a Diverse and Inclusion Ambassador. We thank you for Celeste, her heart and hard work, her meekness and kindness. In spite of all we're going through, she is a servant of God, speaking out on behalf of all of God's people. Help us all to be ambassadors. What did the Lord require? To seek justice, to do good will. So we're seeking justice, and we pray tonight as this book launches that all of us get on board to make it happen, to make this world a better place. So bless us as we assemble, bless the food, and bless, oh God, all the efforts that she's put to make this night so meaningful. In the wonderful, marvelous, incredible name of our God, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Kwame. We're going to have a couple of remarks. We're going to start with Dr. Ainsley Wright-Riggins, who is mayor of Borough Collegeville, Pennsylvania, the first African-American mayor of the Borough of Collegeville, followed by Jen Geller, who's the director of programming and senior editor for CNBC's Workforce Executive Council. So, Dr. Wright-Riggins.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I just want to thank and salute my sister Celeste Warren for the wonderful work that she has done and is doing in the corporate world, the community world, the civic world, and our church world. And I'm so very, very excited to be a member with her at Bethlehem Baptist Church, where our motto is to love God and serve people. And she does that, and she also does the reverse of that. She also serves God and loves people. And I think that this work and this book is emblematic of all of that. I'm honored to serve as mayor of Collegeville, Pennsylvania, but I'm also a public theologian. And with that in mind, I was reflecting upon the work that she has done and wanted to just spend a couple of minutes looking at that work through a biblical lens. Because many of us as people of faith wonder, what does diversity, equity, and inclusion look like from a biblical lens? And I just want to take 3 minutes to do this. I can do a 30-minute lecture or sermon, but it'll take to talk about this. The Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, begins and ends with God's loving creation and recreation of human beings who bear the image of God, the imago Dei. We all bear the mark and the image of God. The whole narrative of Scripture, again from Genesis to Revelation, involves the story of God's efforts having made us good and very good. We're all good and very good. But the breakdown of humanity from Genesis, as we look from Genesis or even going forward, really looks like the unraveling of human dignity, the unraveling of value and honor because of the internal and external abuses of social, gender, racial, political, and religious power. And we know that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The story of God's promises to Abraham, the narrative of Israel, the Exodus, the exile, the prophets, the incarnation, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus are all evidences of God's commitment to stem this human spiral which goes downward, and to use the nation state of the church to be primary evidence of new humanity, of God's creating, of God's looking at how we create highly diverse array of human beings, each of equal value and deserving of equal dignity, and inclusive of every tribe and every tongue and every nation. For example, our kingdom values call us far beyond these minimums into the full reordering of power under the ethos of the one, who did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped, but rather emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, and being found in human form, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even death on the cross. And those of us who call Jesus Lord live under that ethos, and are called to take up our cross and lay down our power and our love in imitation of our Christ. DEI calls on many of us to die with regards to the power that we claim, the privilege that we claim for ourselves. We are all aware, of course, that DEI, diversity, inclusion, equity, can be a language that can be assumed to be secular and driven by certain political ideological ends, that some believers believe is not biblical and therefore dispensable or unnecessary. But no, Celeste Warren's book, How to Be a Diversity and Inclusion Ambassador, Everyone's Role in Helping All Feel Accepted, Engaged, and Valued, does not specifically quote Moses or Miriam or Abraham or Amos or Matthew or Martha or Jesus or Jeremiah. But what she does say is this: creating a diverse workplace needs to be an ongoing effort, not just a subject of occasional training, but rather needed change won't take place unless all people feel that they have a role to play in creating the culture that they would like to see in their organization. With this statement, Celeste Warren expresses a fundamental and notable biblical value. We are shaped in the image of God, and we are all called to be co-creators with God in God's world. We all have agency. Big eyes and little U's all have agency. All of us are in the image of God. The world we create is the large part of the world we have mutually constructed. We're all called to stem the spiral down. We're all called to affirm human dignity, value every person and culture, and to respect social, gender, sexual, racial, political, and religious differences. I don't know about you, but that is how I read the Bible. And I want to thank Celeste for helping all of us through our equipping us with tools to help make this world a better place for us to live. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jen Geller, and I want to thank so much for having me here tonight. This is such an honor to be with such a distinguished group and to honor such a wonderful person as Celeste. I'm the Director of Programming for CNBC Events. I'm also the Senior Editor of the CNBC Workforce Executive Council. It's a network of HR executives, heads of DEI, chief people officers, and we launched, and that's how I met Celeste. We launched this network in early 2020 because, who knew what was going to happen in the workforce and the workplace right around that time. And Celeste joined shortly after we launched, and I connected on a call as I do with all of our new members to get to know them a little bit and see what their interests are and what they're all about. And it was, of course, a lovely conversation with Celeste. How can you not have a great conversation with Celeste Warren? She was warm and kind and thoughtful. But I had in our first chat what I can only describe as a Times Square moment. I don't know about you, but I was a full adult when I realized that Times Square was named after the New York Times.
it was one of those things where it's like right in front of me my whole life, and I was like, oh yeah. Now, all right, there's a couple people nodding, but most people are like, it was pretty obvious, but I didn't know that. So we were talking about DEI, and we were talking about inclusion and diversity in workplaces, and I was flexing a little bit. I was talking about the difference between sponsorship and mentorship, and pipelines, and making sure marketing materials reflect who you want, and the image that you want. And she's like, yes, but there's so much more. It has to be in the fabric of everything you do. Your suppliers, your vendors, the way you interact with the community, the way you interact even with the buildings, and how we're making sure people feel included and involved. And in any other situation, maybe with a different person, I would have felt embarrassed that, I didn't even think of that. And instead, I felt inspired and excited, and just even felt like I learned something in that very moment. And that's the magic of Celeste, really. And that's going to be the magic of this book. This clear-eyed, warm, inclusive person, and words that can just motivate and inspire others to bring inclusion into basically every part of their life, not just, as we mentioned, an action, a training, but everything, seeing things through a different lens. And it's truly inspiring. I'm excited for this book. I'm excited for others to read this book. And congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much, Julie. Next on our program is Mr. Calder, followed by Christopher Cardarelli.
Good evening, everyone. What an exciting event to celebrate Celeste's book launch today. About almost a decade ago, I met Celeste for the first time when she was the HR leader for the Merck Manufacturing Division. I walked into her office for an interview that would probably change the trajectory of my entire career at Merck. And also, it was the start of a great friendship with Celeste. I was a mom of 2 babies at the time, who had been asked to consider a demanding role that involved a lot of travel, and I was nervous, and I was unsure if I should even be interviewing for this role. When I spoke to Celeste for that first time, we immediately connected. She was welcoming and spoke not only about the job, but about her career and her children. She immediately put me at ease, and we had a great conversation that gave me the confidence that I could take this on. Through the 3 years I was in the role, Celeste and I were the only 2 women on the leadership team, and the only 2 women of color. We became very close, and we helped each other out. We were inseparable. I started the role being really intimidated and out of my comfort zone. Celeste not only helped me transition smoothly, but she provided me with so many opportunities to lead projects. She coached me on how to be confident and how to use my voice in a room full of senior leaders. And she taught me it was okay to be my authentic self, a quality that has served me well in many of the roles I've had after. But most importantly, Celeste was and is a role model for me and many others. I saw how she navigated being one of the only women executives in the room and one of the and join Michael's videos with me, to now me sharing my favorite Peloton workouts with her. Glad I could return the favor. Celeste and I had so much fun during those 3 years, traveling the world, visiting our manufacturing sites, and breaking out for some shopping to buy some presents for our children. Fast forward to today. Celeste has made an incredible impact to our company in her role leading diversity, inclusion, and center of excellence. I have seen her engage at the right levels of leadership in the company, and she has had a broad reach across the enterprise to put Merck on the radar as one of the most admired companies known for diversity and inclusion. She has increased the presence of GD&I work internally and externally, and I appreciated that she has asked me to help her over the last 2 years as I volunteered my time to be the executive sponsor of the Merck Asian Civic Association and a member of the company's global D&I advisory line. Celeste has now become a famous woman known by so many, both at Merck and outside, speaking at numerous events, featured in articles on LinkedIn, industry rankings, and even being invited to podcast interviews. I will always remember when she interviewed Irwin Magic Johnson a few months ago. It was amazing for those of you at Merck who saw it. Celeste, just like you proved out to Irwin then, many of us are trying to get on our side hustle, and now we're here tonight to honor your incredible side hustle. I am so thankful for Celeste's leadership, the influence she has had on me and many others up in this room today, for her support over the last decade of my career, and for her friendship. Congratulations again, and thank you for giving me the honor of sharing some thoughts today as you embark on this new journey. You can now add author of a soon-to-be best-selling book to your amazing list of accomplishments. And although not everyone can have the privilege of working with Celeste side by side like I did, they can read her book and be inspired by her leadership and be guided by her words to make their own contributions to D&I, which is especially critical during these challenging times. We need everyone to collectively lead if we want to change the world for the better. Barack Obama said it best in that historical Super Tuesday back in 2008. Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we see. Celeste, congratulations.
Celeste and I had to change bifocals or whatever. So, good evening, everyone. I am really thrilled and honored to have the opportunity this evening to spend a few moments with all of you and to reflect on the excitement of being here in support of Celeste and the way. Celeste, you've been my manager, you've been a coach, a colleague, and now a soon-to-be best-selling author. I'm with emotion. Let's will it in this room this evening, okay? I have worked alongside you, with you, and for you 3 times now over the last 25 years of our careers at Merck. And I'm thankful to you for the many opportunities that you've given me. In reflecting on what I wanted to say tonight about you and to you, so many great moments come to mind. They all revolve around efforts to engage and educate others by exposing them to opportunities and insights that reflect the importance of leadership and allyship in support of diversity, equity, and inclusion. These opportunities and insights are moments. They're moments that cause reflection, that build capabilities, and improve confidence. These moments occur at all levels of an organization and across communities globally. What I've come to realize is that it's in these moments that matter that we can create and influence the most lasting impact. Maya Angelou, an American poet and civil rights activist, once said, "People will not remember what you said. They may not remember what you did, but they well remember how you made them feel." As you outline in your book, we all have a role in helping others feel accepted, engaged, and valued. I followed you several times along my career. I knew I had big shoes to fill, and you always had my back. You had confidence in me, perhaps more confidence than I had in myself. When you approached me to apply for my current role, I thought, why me? You inspired me to
drive change, to make a difference, to help to shift our culture. You help me to lean into those fears and feel inspired. Rather than expect someone else to lead, you made me feel capable of influencing others to be better, quite frankly. Wiser, more curious, and more courageous. It's taken a lot of that these last couple of years. I'm grateful for your encouragement and the opportunity that you extended to me once again. Probably one of the most challenging and yet the best roles I've had in my career. Now you take those moments that matter, those of encouragement, inspiration, and engagement, and you extend it broadly to others in your book. No surprise here for me, or probably any one of us who have had the pleasure of working with Celeste, that your bias towards accountability, your calls to action, and your focus on outcomes is the basis of that three-step framework that you highlight in your book. What you have influenced and accomplished here at Merck will now extend more broadly to other individuals and companies who no doubt will benefit from your lessons learned. You know, I love to use quotes, and also I'll share another one, and I believe they encourage us to really pause and reflect. In doing so, we think about our thinking, and that's where change needs to start. I recently came across a new quote from anthropologist Jane Goodall. She said, "What you do makes a difference. You have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." This speaks to intentionality. You have made a difference at our organization, for our leaders, your peers, the teams you've led, and me personally. The launch of your new book is but another moment that matters. Capturing your wisdom and experience for others will have impact in helping to shift mindsets and change behaviors in support of what we desire, a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive team, company, community, and society. By reaching one reader and one leader at a time, you will continue to influence and drive change that is possible and vital to us all. Congratulations on the book. Thank you for your leadership. I appreciate you so very much.
And thank you each speaker tonight. It meant a lot to Celeste and to us as her family to hear you all say such nice words about her. And I'll remind those of you who have worked with her all these years, I have worked for her my whole life. Next on our agenda is two of the most phenomenal Gen Z people I have ever met. John Stephen Warren and Christina Celeste, the co-founders of Destination STEM, and my niece and nephew.
Hi, my name is Christina Warren, and I'm currently a rising senior at Arizona State University.
I'm Stephen Warren. I'm a rising sophomore at Arcadia University.
Destination STEM is a non-profit organization founded by my mother, my brother, and myself. It was created to provide resources for students of color pursuing degrees in STEM, otherwise known as science, technology, engineering, and math-related fields. Our desire is to help students of color see the possibilities that exist by exposing them to opportunities to learn about STEM-related fields. The vision of Destination STEM, Inc. is to enable a future for students of color who desire to seek careers within those STEM fields.
There are many students, just like my sister and I, who have the desire to understand and learn more about STEM programs. So basically, all of the courses in science, technology, engineering, and math. And basically, the only way they can do that is they're encouraged and to pursue their interests for a variety of different reasons. And basically, some of those reasons would be stopping them from doing this would be lack of inspiration, resources, support, and or role models. Many times there's no one to encourage them in and show them how they can pursue STEM-related courses. There are many ways we can help them do this and help our young students of color learn more about STEM and prepare high school students of color to pursue STEM-related degrees.
To bring about the kind of changes that will help students of color achieve their academic and professional goals, we need all of your support. Please go to our website at destinationstem.org, or you can use the QR codes on the flyers at your tables tonight to get more information. Your support is greatly appreciated.
And your money is also greatly appreciated.
Neurosurgeon and cure Alzheimer's disease. She's a member of Bethlehem Baptist Church in Springhouse, PA.
Our next scholarship recipient is Tanai Nicholson. She is a graduate from Abington Friends School, and she will be attending Tufts University in the fall. She is majoring in engineering, and she is a member of Bethlehem Baptist Church in Springhouse, PA. Sonata, will you stand over here?
Can we have another round of applause for Peyton and Sonata? We wish the two of you the very best as you enter college in the fall.
I'd like to take a minute here to acknowledge some of the board members of Destination STEM that are here with us this evening. Will Mike Wallace and Mike Howard please stand and take a bow? They have worked with Celeste to get this thing off the ground. We've come to the point in the program where we get to hear the person we're all here to support, and it is my pleasure to bring up tonight my wonderful big sister, best big sister in the world, Celeste Morin.
I know that everybody is hungry, so I'm not going to take that long. I am overwhelmed at your generosity, at your support of me as we launch this next leg of our journey. It has been a wonderful, wonderful journey at that. I first want to acknowledge individuals who supported this event. Our circle of friends, Sherry Ritter and our more Cuban colleagues. Sherry, you want to stand? Sharita Lee and Sweet Dreams. Adrian King and the Pair Up Society. And of course, you've all met Pastor Charles Quan from Bethlehem Baptist Church. Our silver sponsors for the evening, Darren DeVoe and Dr. D. Bass Music. Did I get that right? And then there were so many others that helped in the launch of the event and the Destination STEM launch as well. Yvette Franklin from Designer Events. Yvette. Chris Rippey from the Carbon Square team who developed our Destination STEM website. Weaving Influence who developed the book website. Dan and Evelyn Watson Bay of East Hill Media. And Joe Lenton from Terrelin Video, who is live streaming video. Wait, Joe. Thank you to all the speakers today as well. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying to make it through without crying. My journey in this place of having published my first book was a very winding road. I first want to acknowledge my parents, who were the first teachers of what it means to be diverse in a world that undervalues and underestimates our contributions and our abilities. I want to thank my siblings, Russell, who passed away 3 years ago, James, my brother James, who's here, my older sister Linda, who's in Pittsburgh and couldn't make it tonight, and you all have met the favorite child. They all formed my initial support system. When I was young and growing up through my formative years, they made me strong and gave me the confidence to push for a seat at the table throughout my professional career. Because growing up in our household, you had to forge a place at the family table if you wanted to eat. I took that strength with me throughout my entire life. I want to thank those colleagues I have worked with throughout my career at Merck. And can all my Merck colleagues please stand? Thank you so much for coming here and supporting me. You just don't know how much that means to me. And the nice and kind words from Moshmi and Christopher around the Merck journey. I've been here now for 25 years. 25 years for me. And yeah. People look at us and say, 25 years. But it has been a wonderful, wonderful journey. I've learned a lot from all of these people in the room who have taught me what it means to be a person who can lead, to build confidence in others. I want to thank my Bethlehem Baptist Church family who took me and my family in, and surrounded us with love. Can everyone from Bethlehem Baptist please stand? I want to thank Barrett Fuller Publishers, who pursued me to write a book for almost 2 years. They kept calling and emailing, and I just kept saying, who's going to listen to anything that I have to say, let alone read it? I thank you for your patience and for shepherding me through the process, from the proposal, the idea in my head, to the final manuscript. And lastly, and most importantly, I want to thank my husband, John, and my children, Christina and Stephen, who keep me grounded and love me unapologetically, who have been with me through thick and thin, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. And the sickness came if I ever ventured into the kitchen and tried to cook. They've been with me through the days when I came home dejected and tired, or worked up and wired. They took me as I was, accepted me, energized me, and got me ready to face yet another day in this crazy journey that we're all on. I want to thank all of you for your support, your love, your encouragement, for keeping me in sometimes and pushing me when those days when I didn't feel like being pushed. It has just been wonderful. And I want one last thing. I want my team, the GD&I Global Diversity Inclusion Center of Excellence team, you all that are here, Kathy, Frank, Christopher, they push me, they keep me going, They say, Celeste, you're crazy, that's not gonna work, but we're gonna try it anyway. When I decide I wanna take a hill, I look behind me and they're still standing there. And they're ready to face that hill with me. It is not an easy thing that we do in our GD&I Center of Excellence. And they do it with me proudly and support and love. And so I thank you so much for being with me. Thank you.